customer ID, for which I will create a dependency with the login team. If I'm the Scrum Master of account management team, I will come and talk to you, Venkatesh. My team, to start displaying the accounts, we need the customer ID. How soon we can get the customer ID from your team so that we can start displaying the actual accounts of that respective customers. Then you might say, hey, Satish, even for us to implement it, it might take at least one sprint to get it done. So until then, maybe we can make use of a dummy customer ID just until that integration happens. But we'll say that by end of sprint 1, we'll make sure that we will complete that creation of that customer ID and we will pass on that actual customer ID so that your team can integrate and start making use it from sprint 2.
So Venkatesh, to answer your question, you need not have a visibility of the entire program board, okay, to identify the dependency for your own team. Okay, because you would know that already, right? And that is how during the team breakouts, you will discuss with the other team with whom you have a dependency, right? My feature is having a dependency on so-and-so thing, right? The example that Satish gave, right? I need to display the account, but for that, I need a customer ID. So I already know that dependency. For that, I need not need to have the entire visibility of the program board, right? Rather, based on these dependencies, interdependencies, which each team will discuss, that is how it will get then accumulated into the program board. It is other way around.
Okay.
Yeah.
But even during the draft also, the dependencies could be revisited.
Yes. Any point of time.
Yes.
Okay, are you good?
Yes.
Yes. So that is where the draft plan review, again, the business owner plays a key role, not just during the draft plan review. During the team breakouts, I forgot to mention one point here. Maybe I need to add it. The business owner, the architect, and the product managers, the three roles who played that context setting initially, the first sessions of the PI planning, they will go and talk to each and every team. The 12 teams are there in the release line, so they will go and talk to the 12 teams. Say, how are we doing on the planning perspectives? Do your team need any clarification on the scope, or your team need any help from that technical perspective, or is there any gap from your team's perspective? So the business owners, product management, and architects will go and talk to each and every team, or at least they will be available so that if in case any team has any question or clarification, they can reach out to these stakeholders.
Yes.
Right. And during the draft plan review, these three roles plus other teams, they need to provide any inputs or any suggestions, or they might ask a question. Hey, now that you have, let's suppose, for example, this dependency, just for time. Hey, unicorns, you have a dependency, you want to complete this feature, but you have dependencies within the same sprint. So the Lions team and the Tigers team. So how confident are we to complete this entire feature implementation within the sprint 4? Or do you want to revise your scope, or do you want to realign your sprints? So that maybe I, as a business owner, I might raise a question. Hey, why are you planning this everything within the sprint 4? Or do you want to realign your scope or of the dependencies at least to complete one sprint before or something like that? What happens if the Lions and Tigers got stuck with something, and which will indirectly impact the completion of that unicorns feature? Right? So every conversation is an interaction across the stakeholders, across the whole release train. That is what this draft plan review is all about.
Okay, this happens after individual breakout, then they come together for a review.
Yes. So now that individual teams breakouts are done, so everyone comes together, the whole release train will be there. Each team will come and present their draft plan. These are the set of features we are working on. The sprint 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and these are the dependencies, and these are our objectives.
Who
And
presents this? Is it a SM or any team member?
up to the team.
Okay.
Up to the team.
Yeah.
Right. See, the main intention is the draft plan review. 1 hour is the agenda, typical agenda time recommended by Scale Agile. We need to understand the math here. Let's suppose we are talking about 12 Scrum teams, 1 hour, which is 60 minutes. Each team might get hardly 5 minutes. So no need to go in detail like what's happening in sprint 1, what is the story estimate, who is working on which story, not at all required. This whole focus is at the release train level, at the which you talk about the feature level. That's the reason even on the program board, whatever is represented are the features, not the user stories. We'll say, right?
Okay.
By
got
this
it, got it.
sprint 3, we are targeting to complete this feature. For this feature, we have dependency with Lions team, we have dependency with Bears, Tigers, and user experience team. That's it.
Now I got it. Since it is at a feature level, yes.
Exactly. And when we represent this feature in sprint 3, we can many times we get it out. Hey, what's the team is doing in sprint 1 and 2? Yeah, they might be working on that stories implementation, and this is where the completion of the feature, this representation on the program, but is the when is the target tentative completion of that feature, not the initiation of the feature.
Exactly. So the stories for that, those features might be done in iteration 1, iteration 2.
1 and 2.
Right? Which will appear in your team board or whatever the team
Your
level
sprint
planning.
board.
Sprint board. Yeah.
And why they are completing here? Because they have dependencies with other teams. And again, this feature has dependency with other teams. This feature has dependency with other teams. Because of that, maybe that's how they are planning it in this way. But this unicorns team might be completing all the remaining features of the scope implementation. They might be doing that integration at this point of time.
So that is it. What it means is the end of that. I mean, completed or
completion of that feature.
or
Targeted
DOD
completion
kind
of that feature.
or DOD
Exactly.
kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? We are
And
good.
again, the intention behind each team presenting this plan is mainly to highlight the dependencies, interdependencies, and how they are resolving that. Right? That's the main intention, basically, to tell to all the stakeholders, basically.
Okay, let's move on. Then comes the last step of day 1, the management review and problem solving. The whole PI planning, we typically mention everyone, the entire release line involves. No, that's not correct. The management review and problem solving, only these set of stakeholders might be involved. The business owners, product management, product owners, scrum master, system architect, any other stakeholders as required, except the team members. Sometimes even the scrum masters might not be involved. Sometimes even the RT might not be involved, provided if in case they are from the vendor companies or service companies. What happens during this management review and problem solving is like, beginning of the PI planning, we got to know the context, the priorities, the implementation architecture and everything. The team spent 3 to 4 hours coming up with their plan, their dependencies, their challenges, their risks, everything. Now that the management roles, these folks, whoever got involved or came across the entire plan, they will come up with, hey, we plan to launch everything, the QBank as an application. But the teams are raising a concern or a challenge. So let's revise the scope. Instead of launching for the entire mobile app, let's focus only on the Android as a first step. Then iOS is the next version. Yeah, that scope change might happen. Right? So that is where the scope change requests or any limitations or any issues or the dependencies challenges raised by the respective teams. These folks brainstorm and the output or outcome of it is like this. It could be a scope change, or it could be a priority change. It could be the team change. I mean, the feature allocation of the change, or it could be any other thing which might happen during this management review and problem solving. And that is where the budget allocations also come into context. Like, what if sometimes the discussions might be like, hey, the facial ID, for example, instead of we spending $1 million for getting that facial ID implementation done, and it might take, what if we might need one PI to get that implementation done? What if we can go for any ready-made solution from a third party, which we might have to spend another 50K to get it done, but we might get it immediately. So how do we want to go ahead with that? Whether we want to spend $1 million for an entire PI to get that done, or get some additional 50K and get it immediately from some third-party vendor, any inbuilt solution. Yes, that sort of discussions also might happen during this management review and problem solving. That's the reason the teams or the team members might not be involved.
Yes.
Right? We are good with that.
It's a kind of build versus buy decision, right? So whether you want to build it in-house, or you want to buy a ready-made solution. Now, such kind of decisions even may have already taken before the PI planning, okay? But yes, there might be, based on team's inputs, there might be some changes to the decisions which might, come up with such kind of a change in the scope, change in the priority, even change with those decisions whether the team should build in, or we should have a ready-made solution.
That is all based upon the number of issues or the risks or the challenges the teams might be identifying and bringing it to the discussion.
Exactly.
That's
That's the main input. Yeah.
That's the reason involvement of the team plus involvement of these stakeholders equally, have equal role and importance during the authentic PI planning, if I call it.
Yeah. Correct.
Right? We are good. Any questions?
One question, Satish, this was actually asked in one of the Agile coaching kind of an interview question. It's actually a food for thought, because we haven't experienced something like that. It's the fact that, okay, we are doing this kind of 2 days of intense PI planning and management review and all those things, and we are having all those, what is going to go into every sprint, those 4 sprints, and then, that is why we are doing, and we are doing a very good course correction by way of, like PO sync is happening on one side, Scrum of Scrum is happening on the other side, right? And you are going to achieve an MVP at the end of your PI. That is what you are doing, a PI, and then that 4 sprints, and then innovation and planning. What in the middle of the PI, or maybe, at the 4th PI or something, you find that the PI has not met the objectives it was set out to achieve. So the fact is, maybe, a lot of spillovers have happened, especially, as that is why we keep that last sprint more or less, like, for doing the spillover also in terms of the innovations and everything. But still, we feel that many teams are saying too much dependency, that one, this one, and the result of which the PI has not gone as planned well as to what it's turned out to achieve, and maybe the MVP might be compromised if we actually do it. Is there, this was again a devil's advocate kind of a question, is there a way that if the PI is not meeting the objectives, is it an option that maybe you just run through the PI but it didn't, or is it a point to maybe abort a PI, in the sense after 3 sprints or something, don't even go to the innovation and planning, or maybe at the 4th sprint? Is there a case where you abort the PI thinking that the PI is not going the right direction of meeting the objectives?
I will circulate back to the sprint goal and sprint commitment. Simple. Right? So we are doing the 2-week sprint planning, and planning for the 2-week sprint, and during the middle of the sprint, what if we identify that we are unable to meet the sprint goal? What is it we are doing? Same logic. And either we will discuss with the product owner and reprioritize the scope, or to see what's best or what max we can do and how we can improvise the deliverables. If not 100%, We know that we might not be able to meet 100%, but at least what maximum we can do and how we can still course correct and get it done.
But what if whatever you have completed, I'm not talking about the spillovers, there are substantial spillovers. What if it's
Mhm.
only like, what you can release is only maybe some 45 to 50%, but that might
Yes.
not be something as a good MVP. Still, we go ahead
Mhm.
and do that? Or do you say that, okay, no, let us probably abort, or maybe, is there anything that you do at the end? A little bit catastrophic.
Yeah, aborting the PI might not help in any context as such. The end result is how quick, how early we can deliver the quality MVP and get that outcome or get that benefit for the customer. So aborting the PI will not help in any way. Instead, the focus is like within the MVP, is there any additional scope revision or adjustment which we can do or which might be able to do, and
Right.
we can see what best we can go ahead and do that MVP.
Right.
Just
And that's
to
why, yeah. Yes, go
yeah,
ahead, Anand.
Yeah, just to add what Satish said, see, aborting PI would be a costly affair, right? Because we have already spent a lot of time, effort, and everything in, doing the PI planning and planning all those things, right? What might also happen is, when we actually do the PI planning, we come up with some certain, committed objectives and uncommitted objectives,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
we
Yeah.
we might do some trade-offs between those, right? See, for example, if we think that no, only 50% or only 70% is getting achieved, right? And we may not be able to fully deliver all the PI objectives, then we might do some sort of a trade-off by which we can leave aside the uncommitted objectives, okay, and give more predictability to our PI objectives by focusing more on the committed objectives. So again, here we may not achieve 100%, but still, focusing and having those kind of a trade-offs wherein you compromise on the uncommitted objectives and having more focus on the committed objectives in order to achieve the maximum predictability.
Here,
that could be a kind of a trade-off which teams also might do.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, here I have one question aligned to that. Like how, I mean, we are doing that classification, right, on the PA objectives, on the committed and uncommitted. Like how we can categorize that? Like maybe like if you're not clear with that objective, or like doing a kind of a spike, or this will go on the release, or can you just throw some light?
Exactly. Yes, that is what happens.
Yeah.
So let me bring up that quickly, the objectives. See, the reason why I'm referring this framework is like, even after the session, you can go click on it and you can go in detail.
Yeah.
You can read out, right? So see, where is that example? The committed and uncommitted, right? See, the uncommitted, when we do that uncommitted is like the dependencies which cannot be guaranteed, especially if it is like outside a release train, or the team has no experience in implementation. That is where the team can plan spikes in the early sprints, and we can do that. Or there are large number of critical objectives and the team is already having too much of things, then the team definitely know that, hey, we can't complete it. Then rather than forcing the team or asking the team that you have to do everything, instead we can say, hey, let's define it as an uncommitted during the planning itself. When we say during the planning itself, we say, hey, out of these 7, the 5 are committed, 6 and 7 is uncommitted. During the planning itself, upfront, the team might be saying, hey, recall a delivery. Hey, we know that we want to implement, we don't know how to implement. We need to do a spike. When we say recall a delivery, we don't know what's the logic it is implemented, or again, we need to assign another delivery agent to get that delivery and going back, or demonstrate real-time rerouting. Oh, we don't know. We want to do it, but we don't know how to implement it. So we might need the help of architect to get it done. So That's the reason we are defining these two as uncommitted objectives during the planning itself. And that is shared with the entire release train, including the business owners, the stakeholders, everyone. So the team is not at fault or team is not at risk, even if they are not completed during the completion execution.
But what if that particular thing is dependent and some team is dependent on this?
Then it is to be raised as a risk and say that, hey, if we have to complete it, if you are not completing it, some other team might get impacted. Yes. So now you as a management team, you discuss in the management review how you can provide the help to us or guidance or whatever it is for us to achieve this.
Yes, so I would like to share one of the incident which happened with my team. So there were a lot of spillover from the previous PI because of the unavailability of a business or business owner, we can say. So we did the negotiation up to 60 to 65% of the delivery in our next PI. And the risk part, the dependency part, so we have a 4 quadrant of the risk mitigation acceptance. So we put all those things where it's been later on accepted by the business owner. So this is what we did.
Right. So take a look at it. Each and every question you are asking or you are having might be already answered in some or other form in the framework. Just go through it. We can again come back and discuss in the next week or sometime, and we can go through it. Okay. Hey, I realized that we already crossed 8 minutes. We are still at the day 1.
Yes.
This is the risk raised by Amrish. Like, by the time we took a break itself, I realized that we might be crossing that, or we are spilling over after that 9 o'clock. But yes, let's spend another 10-15 minutes and we will try to go through the day 2 agenda also quickly. Okay. Now coming back,
maybe we can park the questions and definitely
yes,
we can answer them. Yeah.
yes. So the day 2, or again, the day 2, when I say the day 2, it is the typical 2-day PI planning, just to clarify. So the next day, whenever the continuation of the session happens, the first step is the planning adjustments. The end of day 1, the scope changes might have happened, the priority changes might have happened, or the budget reallocations might have happened, or anything might have happened. And the team members are not there, not part of it. So the day 2, the first step is all these stakeholders come together and say that, hey, team, thanks for your pointers or the risks or the challenges or dependencies you identified and shared with us. As part of our management review and problem solving, this is what the decisions we took. Now, instead of this entire scope of mobile app, let's cut short to Android for the current version. iOS will do a next version. Instead of doing the mobile and email, let's focus mobile as the first version, email as the next version. So the scope changes, any priority changes, or anything, each and every point which was the decision taken by the management team will be should be shared with the team members, which means the expected outcome or the artifact is the revised backlog, and the additional information, the inputs or the pointers or the suggestions or the guidance is the baseline now for the teams, using which the teams will again do a team breakout based upon number of changes or number of adjustments, where again the same exercise happens, but it might not be everything. Hey, now that we'll say, hey, we already have this, now we got this scope refined. Let's move this dependency to sprint 3. Okay, so now let's see what we need to adjust. So we are not starting from scratch for the second breakout, but we are taking the existing version and we are doing the updates on top of it. Right? And the duration of the team breakout for the second time will be dependent on how many scope changes, how many priority changes, how many adjustments came in. If there is no scope changes, no adjustments, nothing, we might simply say, okay, let's quickly go through and make sure we have everything is defined, we can wrap up that team breakout on the day 2. But otherwise, ideally, maybe 1 to 2 hours or maybe 3 hours sometimes might be spent for realigning the new scope of the revision.
Yeah.
Then again, during this breakout also, again, the Scrum of Scrum happened. Again, the same exercise that RT will facilitate in making, hey, teams, is the teams clear with the revised scope, revised priorities? Are we focusing on revising our objectives? Are we coming up with the final plan, final risks or final adjustments or anything? Are we good with that? That is what the RT will facilitate the team breakouts. I mean, the Scrum of Scrum during the team breakouts, and that revised program by board, revised dependencies, revised adjustments will be the output or outcome of that discussion. And during this discussion, I need to update in the day 1 also, the business value assignment for the PI objectives by the business owner with each and every team separately, which means the business owner should go and talk to each and every team, not just during day 2, during the day 1 also. That's what I mentioned earlier. The business owner along with the architect and the product manager, they will go and talk to each and every team, and they will assign the value to the each and every object. We will discuss in detail when we are doing the simulation, but yes, that is what happens. And the outcome is like the business value of each PI objective for both committed and uncommitted, it will be the outcome. Then comes the second half, the key role of the actual PI planning. The final plan review. Now that we are done with everything, realignments, readjustments and everything, this is our final plan. This is our final risk. This is our final dependencies. Are we good with that? As a team, can we go ahead and start working on the execution? Each team will be indirectly asking the commitment from the business executives. That is what the final plan review happens. Then the program level risk. When you say the risk could be at the team level, or some risk could be at the program level as well. Right? And it will be tagged in the 4 quadrants: resolved, owned, accepted, and mitigated. The more risky risk or tricky risk is accepted. Resolved is like the risk is already taken care as part of the dependency discussion in the realignment. Dependency is already resolved, or the risk is already resolved. Owned is like it is still active, but someone is taking that lead. That okay, yes, let me get this done, or I will work with the stakeholder to get it resolved. So right now it is active, open risk, but still someone is taking that ownership. Mitigated is like an alternative. What if plan A doesn't work? Okay, we have plan B, we have plan C, we have plan D. Some other alternative is there as a fallback plan. But accepted means the way how doctors say, hey, we did our best. It's not in our hands now. So the accepted risk is more risk. A simple example from the day-to-day perspective, general perspective, when the organizations are coming up with a COVID vaccine, they ask this question to their leadership: hey, you want us to come up with this vaccine, you are allocating us this much budget, this much of manpower or the timelines. What if end of everything, we cannot come up with a vaccine which can cure COVID? Are we okay with that? Yes or no? Because what if the government is not giving the approval to release that vaccine to the market? That's it. We can't sit and say, hey, you haven't mentioned us, you haven't priced it as a risk, or we spend this much of time, effort, and budget. No, that's not the case. It is not the fault of the team or the team members or the release train, right? There could be even accepted risk. All these are raised or highlighted upfront during the planning itself. Now, what if this happens? What if this happens? Are we okay with this? Or what is it from your side as a leadership? You can help us, give us support so that we won't end up with that risk. Right? Very good.
So mainly such risks which are accepted are kind of external risks, right? On which we do not have a control, right? We cannot mitigate them.
It's not in our hands.
It's not in our hands, basically. It's not, we don't have a control. As Satish gave the example of that COVID vaccine, right? It's not in our hands. It's not in our control if government disapproves it, right? Or if government doesn't give an approval to distribute that, right? But that doesn't mean that we should stop doing that, right? I mean, that is something which management has to take a call there, whether we accept this and still go ahead with our work or what,
So it is
Right.
something in that accepted, which we cannot go again. The management will ask on the action plan or something like that, because that is a serious thing, right? Or what?
Yes, we need to indirectly, we are asking the management, hey, what is that you want to do, or how is it you can help us? It is not in the scope of the what do you say, the associates or the team members who worked on that defining that vaccine. They might have done everything, but what if the government is not giving the approval? Is it the responsibility of the team or the release line, or is it the responsibility of the management or someone who is working with the government to get it done?
Got it.
Right. So we are telling that, hey, we might be spending $5 million across 1 year of time. Maybe 1,000 associates might be working on identifying or coming up with this vaccine. End of the year, don't come and blame us. Simple. Indirectly, we are stating that. If we don't want to end up in that situation, what is the support you as a leadership can provide us? We are indirectly asking the leadership to give us that support.
Got it.
Right?
Got it.
Then comes that the confidence vote. Yes, typically this is how that in-person PI planning we used to do. Now we have that lot of voting tools. Even the Zoom has that poll. So we ask that poll, and where the teams will vote for their own confidence, plus the entire release line will vote for the entire solution implementation. That is what, and the terminology we need to remember is fist of 5. Why fist of 5? Like this, the way how like on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 is no confidence, 5 is like full confidence. So we used to ask, hey, okay, how much confident you are? Like, hey, okay, 4 or 5 or 3. So the team members used to rise. We are not giving it too much complicated scale. We are saying, okay, on a scale of 1 to 5. That's it. The terminology we need to remember is fist of 5. That's it. Or we can use a digital tool like a Zoom, the poll on the Zoom. We can use that. Right. And the plan rework. This is the worst case scenario. What if, like, during the confidence vote, someone is saying that I'm not still confident. Hey, we already spent more than 2 days of time and effort. Entire release train stakeholders, everyone is involved in that. And still, if you're not confident, what needs to be done? That is where the rework comes into context. 99% this might not come. I'm not saying it won't come, might not come, because if you observe from the, I'm going about to the agenda, starting from business context till confidence vote, each and every step, the individual team member or a business owner or a stakeholder, anyone can raise a question or raise a risk or raise a clarification, and they can get it addressed. No need to wait until that confidence vote saying, hey, I'm still not sure. Right? What is it you are doing when the business owner is there with your team? Or you could have asked your product manager to clarify your doubt, or you could have reached out to the architect to get this clarification regarding that architecture. No need to wait until the confidence vote to say that, hey, I'm still not sure. Right? But still, we are taking the confidence vote from the entire release train, saying, okay, yes, now that we are done with all the discussion, how confident are we? Shall we go ahead with the execution or not? If not, let's pause it. Let's do the rework and then go with the retrospective. Okay. Then comes the retrospective of the PA planning. What went for that PA planning of the 2 days? Hey, all teams together. Vision helped us, the big undertaking and the program you helped us. What didn't? Hey, estimation was difficult in some cases. Yes, that's fine. You can still go ahead and do that estimation at your backlog refinement. They ran out of food. Yes, sometimes even that sort of comments come. The no vendor participation. Yes, we have dependency with the third party vendors, but the vendors are not participating in that PI planning. There's a risk, or that didn't work well. So the next time PI planning, we need to improvise that. Okay, we are good. Then they gave the next steps: clean up the rooms if in case in-person PI planning, entering the objectives into the tool if in case it is a the physical PI planning and we are using the whiteboards or the charts. That's when we have to make sure the PI objectives are copied or entered into the ALM tool. But if in case we are doing the virtual PI planning, that might be already defined in the tool, nothing to worry. And make sure the calendars, when the Scrum should happen, when the PO sync should happen, everything. And make sure the team sync locations, which is nothing but the Scrum, the location and the timings, everything should be shared with everyone. That brings to the end of the PI planning as a discussion. Okay. Yes.
When this retro happens, it is not part of PA.
Retro happens towards the end.
No, see, we'll have this product demo, right, at the end of every sprint, last day of the sprint. So here for that PI, entire PI, when will that demo happen? It's not part of PI?
It's part of the PI, but it happens in the innovation and planning iteration. Not
PI planning
during
is
the PI
also
planning.
part of IP, right?
Yes. Yes.
But it is for the next PI, right? Whatever planning you have done is for the next PI, right? So in the next PI cycle, during the inspect and adapt, okay, the actual demo will be given, because for demo, you need a working software, right? When are you going to develop the working software? During the PI execution, right? So at the end of the PI execution, okay, when during the IP iteration in the inspect and adapt demo, okay, you will actually show the PI system demo. See, this is the schedule which Satish is showing here. So this inspect and adapt happens for the current PI, okay, and this day 1, day 2 planning which we are doing is for the upcoming PI, next PI.
Next, yes.
Okay.
And what is PA planning readiness in day 8?
The preparation for PA planning.
Yeah.
No, preparation happened 2 sprints before, right?
Yeah, but this is just
Yeah.
it is just a kind of marker over there, just to ensure that yes, the preparation is complete and now we are ready for the PI planning.
See, this
Kind
is
of a
like a
readiness
this is
checkpoint.
like
You can say readiness checkpoint it is basically. Yeah.
This is the last step, which means before this, the PA planning readiness should be done.
Done.
Whether you do it 2 sprints before or 1 month before, it is fine. But this is the last checkpoint where the PI planning should be completed. I mean, readiness should be completed, because here, this is where we are doing the inspect and adapt. I recommend each of you to go through this inspect and adapt. Again, go to the framework, click on this I&A. You will get it, and we will discuss in detail if required. But this is where the actual final demo of the entire PI plus the retrospective happens at the PI level, followed by the next PI planning.
Okay, I&A is done by entire art, right? If there are 10 teams, 10 will give the demo. That is integrated demo, right?
Integrated demo, yes.
That is a small question. Prepare for PI planning is done a week before, and also PI planning readiness. Is there a difference any between those two?
Throughout this week, the teams, the product owners and scrum masters might be working on going through that feature, splitting that stories into the, features into stories, identifying the dependencies, this and everything. Maybe getting the doubts from the architect or someone clarified. So this PI planning readiness is the final checkpoint. By now, we need to have everything ready. That is what the PI planning readiness as a checkpoint is added here.
That means you are checking all the acceptance criteria, definition.
Might not be the acceptance criteria at the story level, but the feature level. Let me go back to the Excel. See, I created a checklist for RT. I will share this Excel, right? You can go through it. Do you have everything defined? It might not happen on that PI planning readiness, but it might be already done. As a last point, before going for the PI planning, I as an RT might say, okay, yes, hey, row number 1, it is already done last week. Okay, fine. Row number 2, yes, it is already shared 2 sprints before. Row number 3, yes, we are involved. So I as a RT will cross check and make sure that we are ready for the PI planning.
So at least at the which feature level we should be ready is what is the readiness with the
Yes.
checklist, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
so during discussion, during day 1, we are ready. Correct?
Yes.
So this IP iteration, we are focusing on the innovation as well as on this on the demo, right? During that inspect and adapt. Correct.
Yes. Right? Yes. So innovation comes in 2 different ways. That is where I mentioned in the Excel. See, the team create the spikes at POC and they can work on the IP sprint. Right. So the team know that these are the facial recognition, for example. So as a team, we have to implement now in the current PI, we implemented a login with username and password, but the next PI, we have to implement the facial ID recognition. So let's create some spikes or a POC or innovation around it, and we can work on it during the IP sprint.
Correct. Got it. Sir.
Right. So Venkatesh, this might be answering your question. Yes. Whether the companies are ready to do the billing or not. Yes. It might not be, they might not be doing the actual deliverables during the IP sprint, but that will be acting as a baseline for the next PI.
Okay. But where is the retro for that PI? See, I am seeing inspect and adapt where the demo, demo will be there. So in inspect and adapt, we'll have that.
Yes. Inspect and adapt. Click on that. You will go through that. 3-step of inspect and adapt. First is the PI level system demo, then the quantitative qualitative measurement, then the retrospective for the entire PI. How so the overall PI level came.
All the 10 teams will be there.
Yes.
Who facilitates that?
RT.
RT with the help of Scrum Masters.
With the help of Scrum Masters, yes, absolutely.
Why?
Because
go ahead, Anand.
Yeah, because every team is involved there, right? So RT is an overall facilitator, okay? However, every team need to participate in terms of, identifying the root causes of some certain impediments at a team level, okay? Or, they need to come up with some analysis with respect to, and there are some tools which are recommended by SAFe, like using the fishbone diagram, right? Or 5 eyes analysis. You can come up with, you can list down the top impediments which were not resolved by the team and what were the reasons for that, right? So all those kind of analysis could be done during this inspect and adapt. And why product owners, the Scrum Masters are also required, because every team will also need to participate in that, and the Scrum Masters need to ensure that participation is there from every team. Okay, so they need to coordinate together with the teams along with the RT for the whole team, for the whole art.
Let me add one more pointer here for that inspect and adapt. The problem solving workshop, right? So in our case, how we used to do is like we first ask the teams to, the teams in the sense all the participants to list down all the problem statements, what they would think of. Then we use the dot voting technique. Using the dot voting, we will take top 3 or top 5 items and we will say, hey, now that we identified the top 5 problem statements we want to discuss, let's split into 5 breakouts. For the next 1 hour, 5 breakouts like problem statement 1, breakout 1, problem statement 2, breakout 2, problem statement 3, breakout 3. There, the 5 breakouts, 5 Scrum Masters will be facilitating. Might not be the entire RT. What does it mean?
Problem,
if in case
a problem statement is nothing but what went wrong, right?
It could be, yes, what went wrong.
Could be, yeah.
There will be multiple problem statements, right? So we might want to discuss with all the problem statements. So we will say that, okay, everyone discussing everything might not be helping or might not be able to get it done within the time. So let's split into breakouts and see that, okay, whoever wants to discuss about this statement, join this room. This statement, this problem, join this room. Like that, we used to split that. So again, that is where the Scrum Masters will come as a facilitator. So I will say that, okay, Venkatesh, can you help with this breakout session? Sai, can you help with this breakout session? Amrish, can you help with this breakout session? I, as a team, might be taking help of the Scrum Masters. There, the participants of that problem statement might not be from your team. They might be anyone from the release train.
Exactly.
Okay, for this demo, who is the recipient?
You're jumping the concepts here and there. But the
you're talking about PI system demo now, right?
Yes.
He's not talking about that retrospective. Yeah.
No.
The PI system demo, we can invite the actual clients. Or we can give it to the business owner.
No, I'm going in terms of this concern, like during, Agile Scrum, PO will be the person where we'll be giving the
business
demo.
owner. Business owner.
Here, who is the person that we need to give demo to?
Business owners.
Okay.
Because business owners then will be giving the actual value, okay, as the actual business value. So during PI planning, they have given the business value, right? Now, based on your demo, they will assess and they will give the actual business value, okay, as you can see in this table here.
And I recommend each of you to go through this framework, each and everything. Click on it. You will get lots of information, more than what we discussed in the past 3.5 hours. Right.
Yes.
Before we wrap up.
Sorry,
yes.
Satish, can I have ask one question?
Sure.
Yeah. So where is release planning done in this entire process, and how that is tracked?
Release planning is done at the, the roadmap level.
Okay.
Right. So at the roadmap level, we might say, okay, now that, that is where I mentioned, right? So if in case the release is quarterly, we might say that the release and the PI might align, but sometimes it might not be. Like what if now in our case, we are doing a monthly release. So then we'll say, okay, within this quarter, we want to do for the month of October, this is what the functionality we want to prioritize. For the month of November, this is what we want to prioritize. For the month of December, this is what we want to prioritize. So the scope of the PI is coming from these 3 releases. That will be the input to the PI plan.
Okay, so got it. Thanks.
Okay. Yes, thanks. And Sai, coming back to your question, where the role of Scrum Master come, as per the revised or the latest version 6 of Scale Agile, the Scrum Master is now called as a team coach, and the facilitating PI planning, improving the release train performance, improving the flow is equally tagged to the Scrum Master as well. Not just at the team level, facilitating PI planning. We just know we saw like at the team breakouts and at the retrospectives at the IP sprint. And in many cases, the Scrum Master should be closely working with the RTE. They might not be taking the entire ownership of the PI planning, but yes, the equal responsibility lies with the Scrum Masters as well. As Anand was mentioning, making sure that team members are participating, that is equally responsibility of the Scrum Masters, and making sure the Scrum Masters bringing up the dependencies and discussing with other Scrum Masters, the program board coming up, making sure the PA objectives are defined and tagged in the tool. Everything is the responsibility of Scrum Master. So that's why the facilitating the PI planning is tagged as a responsibility of Scrum Master as well. And improving the release train performance, not the team performance. They're talking about the release train performance. Why or how? By bringing up the, let's suppose your team and my team are having a dependency, and every time we are having a clash, and we are during the PI planning, we are agreeing, but during the execution, we might be having challenges. So we might bring up at the retrospective, or maybe we both might come together to talk to our team and say that we will resolve it. By resolving that, the flow or the performance or the deliverables of the release train will improve indirectly or indirectly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So that is where the responsibility of Scrum Master increased more, or it was brought more into the visibility when compared to the version 5 and before.
Yeah.
Does that mean they are not doing it? They're doing it, but
They were
it is
doing it, yeah.
explicitly highlighted it.
Yeah.
or
Now it
clearly
is
called
made.
out in the version.
It is made very visible now in 6.
Yes.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no more the old goes, right? You are not responsible for the delivery. Kind of, you have to take the responsibility for the quality of the deliverables also.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes.
And no more servant leadership.
Yes.
So Satish, do we also have any link here for RTE as well? Any these kind of to just have the clarity?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes,
Yes. Yes.
Ev-
Click on
every
RT.
role. Yeah.
Every role. Click on that role. You will get that details. See.
okay.
Okay,
See,
while
supporting the
going
PA
on-
execution, coaching the art, optimizing the flow, improving relentlessly, everything. Click on that role. Again, that is the beauty of the framework, right? So
Yeah. See,
click
on this
on
big
any
picture,
icon.
any icon, yes. Any icon is clickable and you will get a lot of information with the all the details. Okay.
Like lean UX, click on it, or customer
Click on it.
centricity, business owners, just click on it. It will open in a new tab and you will get the tons of information.
So Satish, can you give us the flow? Which one to start with first?
The
Flow?
essential,
Essential,
Okay.
and
essential.
start with understanding the roles.
Okay.
Then again, if required, you want to spend some time on the customer centricity design thinking, but otherwise start with the ART backlog and WCF.
Okay.
Then go to the PI planning, the IPI iteration, PI objectives, and inspect and adapt.
Okay. ERT, there we have continuous exploration, integration. This is not required.
You can. That is, see, indirectly we are doing it. And if you can see, the CE, CI, CD, CE, CI, CD should be done every sprint, not just at the release time level, at the team level, at the sprint level as well. So the exploration, the POCs or the spikes should be happening continuously. The integration, not just in the IP sprint, it should be happening on every sprint. The continuous deployment, now that we are telling it, we're not waiting until end of PI. We are doing a monthly deployment to the production. Yes, and release on demand. Whenever the customers or whenever the business owner comes and say that you have to release, we are releasing it to the customers. Everything is required, but to start with, go through this, then you can explore that as well.
Okay, because looking at a lot of this, I got confused where to start, where to end.
Yes. Now, is it clear for everyone? Like how you can navigate the flow?
So Satish,
yes,
I have a question.
Yes.
System team and NFR's testing, when will that happen?
Continuously. It should be continuous. The system team is nothing but the tools team or the DevOps team, typically, ideally, right? So they might be coming up and making sure. And the reason they are tagged as a common is the moment we go to portfolio, the system team might be supporting multiple solutions, not just one release line or one team, right? The same is the case with the shared services teams. Also, common teams will be supporting multiple release lines or across the organization as such.
Okay.
But
And
Satish, I'm not seeing any role of a coach, agile coach like we normally have, right?
SPC, they're the base. Here, the SPC, the Safe Practice Consultant, they're acting as a base foundation. Even if you go to Essential, the SPC is there.
Okay, they are equivalent to our agile coach, right?
They are
Yes.
the they are the art coach. Okay, and
Release
now Scrum,
coach.
you know, and Scrum Master is now called as a team coach.
Team
Okay.
coach.
Okay, in general parlance, there will be a coach who will be sitting with me and helping me out. So in safe, so who will sit me with me? RTE is a different role, right? But who
The
will?
SPC. The SPC, ideally, see,
Okay.
I as an SPC, I'm supporting 4 release trains out
Oh
of
my
10.
God! Oh my God!
Which means I need to work with 4 RTs, 4 different product managers, 4 architects. I'm just giving a numbers. It's more some cases, right? So yes, so, and each release train have 10 teams minimum.
Yes.
That is what as an SPC or as an agile coach I'm helping now.
So as a Scrum Master, I can contact you for any
Yes.
help.
Yes.
But
First
when
step-
should I go for RTE? When should I go for SPC? That is my final question.
First step, try to reach out to RT. If not, then you can reach out to SPC. Not as an escalation, but further clarification.
Then RT is also a coach, right? You mean to say? Kind of
Yes,
SPC?
RT.
Yes, yes.
RT coaching the ART. That is what the role of RT. So that is where you might get a doubt how I as an SPC are supporting 4 release trains. I won't be working with each and every team of the release train. My role is to enable the RT so that he can coach or he can help his own release train so that I can move to the next release train.
Okay. Right.
So initially 1 or 2 PIs, the RT might need some hand holding or helping and getting it done. But from the 3rd or 4th PI, I might be taking a back seat as an SPC or a coach. The RT will be leading everything. By the time I will start picking up the next release train, then next release train, like that. Okay. Good.
one question, sorry, Satish,
Sure.
one more question I have. During inspect and adapt, when we do the system demo, then the business owner will be giving the actual value for all the features. So when will this happen? After the demo, he will reach out to the teams, or he will sync up with the product owner and he gives.
Let me tell you my context. This is our program board, for example, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 objectives and 2 uncommitted objectives. Our case, we are doing monthly release. So first month, we might have done these 2 objectives. The moment whenever we are done with that, we are not waiting until the IP sprint or that inspect and adapt for the business owner to give the actual. We are asking then, and hey, we are done with that release. Can you tag the actual?
Okay. So we have a
Right?
demo
So,
separately? Okay.
the sprint level, we will be doing the demo, right?
Yeah,
So now
yeah.
we have to do the release. Before release, we might be doing a demo or we might be making sure everything is in line. That is where the business owner might be giving the actual then and there. No need to wait until the inspect and adapt itself.
Okay. Okay.
See, everything defined in the framework is like acting as a last step, not as a first step. That's what my point is. Right? No need to wait until inspect and adapt to get the actual. If you're done with that objective 1 in the first sprint or maybe the first month, get that actual done then and there.
But
Wherever
that's
possible.
the problem, right? When we are going for inspect and adapt at a PI level, yes, business owners are there. But at every sprint level, I mean, every 2-week sprint, so we'll be giving a demo to a PO, but PO won't give the actual value, right?
No. So
I'm not talking the PO, the business owner, right? See, my
that's
context,
business
I'm telling
owner
my
is
context.
business owner is not available at the sprint level, right?
If we have to do the release. Yeah, Anand, go ahead.
Sorry, Satish. Yeah. At the end of every sprint, there is a system demo also which is happening. Okay. So the sprint demo happens at the sprint level, right? In addition to that, also a system demo happens wherein, an integrated system demo is given by multiple teams together.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
And during that event, okay, the business owners also attend that event. So as Satish said, right, if we have completed our objective, right, in first 2 iterations itself, okay. So during the system demo of iteration 2, right, we can actually ask for the actual business value for that particular, uh, you know, objective which we have achieved.
No, my question here is, I mean, practically,
Simple.
when PO is
I
not
got.
attending my sprint demo, he is asking
Let
something.
let me simplify.
When business owners are there, 1 or 2 people, then how will they we are expecting for 10 teams to sit in every, where is the time? Will they agree for that, and who will give the actual? So that's where I'm coming from.
Venkatesh, you're able to hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, let me clarify it in a simple word. Business owners is the one who will give the go ahead to do the production deployment, or who should be giving the go ahead. In our case, we are doing a monthly release, which means what are the objectives we completed or what are the scope we completed for that release should be definitely going to the business owner. Only then we can deploy it to the production.
Okay.
Right. So team might be doing the sprint level demo only to the product owner. Then it is the responsibility of product owner either to go do the demo or have a interaction or discussion with the business owner to get the go ahead to the production. And that's when the product owner can ask, hey, now that we are done with this, can you tag the actual business value? Might not be the team asking the business owner. Right?
Okay, there is a connect between PO and PO.
Exactly, obviously, right? So when the production code is deployed to the production, which means definitely the product owner, product manager, and business owner, all of them come together and take a decision. Then and there we can ask, hey, can we get it done? Yes, Pranay, I know. Thanks for reminder.
Yeah, so I don't want to miss any conversation. So, every time.
Yes. I know. It's a weekend. It's a weekend. Yes. Hope at least now we got a context where we can refer or how we can go through it. This is just a beginning, right? So if you let me, I will keep on talking for another 2-3 days on the same PA planning as a concept.
I think we should have a part 2 of this, Satish, because part 1 is just an overview. Part 2 should be detailed,
I completely agree. We need a part 2, Satish.
Right. See, this is all coming from the past 6 to 8 years of that actual working experience of the SAFE implementation. That's what I can say, right? So working with the different release trains, different clients, that's the reason I scheduled itself for 3 hours. I know it might be tough, but yes, at least now we are good with the context, or at least you're confident of getting the clarity around the concepts.
Yeah, you made us to sit without even moving our.
Again, that's one small logic. I intentionally made it as a paid. It's not just to make you pay for it, but to make sure you're focused on this and get it done. Instead of doing a free session for 100 folks, even if 10-15 folks are there, I am happy to spend any number of time explaining in detail. And not the part 2. Not the part 2, but we are planning to do the hands-on simulation of the PI planning. I will send the details of it over the
When is
WhatsApp
that session, Satish?
we will finalize the dates. Next week is really tough. I am traveling, so next week I can't do that.
What about 4th?
4th is I'm traveling back to Hyderabad, so 4th is totally ruled out. That's a challenge. So,
Satish, what you can do is you can do a poll, and then you can get people who are interested in this 3 or 4 dates, and then based on that we can schedule. It'll be easier.
Yes. We will do that. I will create a small WhatsApp group for all of us, and we will discuss there.
That will be great.
Yes. Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Hello,
have a
Satish,
nice weekend.
you there? Hello.
Yes, Abhijit, I'm there. But before
Yes.
your question, I would like to thank everyone for taking your time. If in case anyone still want to be there, you can be. Otherwise, yes, please feel free to drop off.
Part 2 and part 3 should be there actually. Part 2 and part 3.
Dil mange more.
KGF part 1 and 2, something.
Yes.
So,
Then
so
the
please
budget
share
also will
Anand.
be increased.
Yeah, it's worth it. Not an issue at all. It's worth it.
Yes, yes. So Satish, I had this request, and so basically, this is the biggest challenge for entry level Scrum Masters. So I completed my so I got certified in Scrum 2 years back. Okay, no, not 2 years back, but 1.5 year back. And I was literally struggling to get a Scrum Master job or a project manager job, wherein I could be exposed to Scrum. Okay, because I had been exposed to project management for the past 13 years, but getting into Scrum role was very, very difficult. And companies definitely want someone who's already trained as a Scrum Master, who has experience as a Scrum Master. And then it becomes very difficult for people who have been working as project managers and would want to go into TPM role or a Scrum Master role. And the basic thing that so even if we go ahead and get certified, we still don't have experience, even if we have PM experience and whatnot. And some challenge, I mean, the biggest challenge that I was facing when I got into the role was how to leverage Jira as a Scrum Master. Okay, because as a project manager, I have been using Jira only for checking the defects and any bugs, bug fixes, and we just used to route it to the guy who used to work on it, or an engineer. But I believe as a Scrum Master, Jira plays a very vital role, important role, wherein people entry level Scrum Masters literally do not have hands-on experience with Jira. So do you have any you know training planned, or you have done it earlier, so that I believe there are a lot of people in our groups who would be wanting, and maybe in future you can do a session on this. This might take time, and I would say this should be a paid session, because only then people would value the session and come onto it.
Yes, definitely. So to start with, we did different reports, individual report level sessions already in detail. I am sharing that playlist just now I shared in the chat. So each report control chart, we spent 1.5 hour.
Okay.
What is it? Other report like burn down, burn up chart. We spent 1.5 hour. Like that, we spent detailed time in explaining with examples, with references for each and everything. But to your point, we haven't started from the scratch, like how to create the user stories, how to create the sprints, how to control, I mean, how to facilitate the sprint as a Jira as a tool. We haven't did that in detail, but yes, we are planning to do that. And definitely we will do a paid session for that.
Yes,
Okay.
and I would be the first one to enroll. Thank you so much.
Sure. We'll do that. Yes.
So Satish, when is tentative plan? I mean, session 2 and session 3.
I will share that in the post, Venkatesh. Let me finish my dinner. So by tomorrow, I will create the WhatsApp group, and we will discuss more in the group.
Okay. Yeah, thanks.
And thanks to Anand for co-facilitating today's session. And thanks to each of you to bring different questions from your different contexts that helped to sit for additional 48 minutes or now 55 minutes to the discussion.
It's my pleasure, Satish. It was a wonderful session. We also get a lot of insights, right? When we actually participate. So yeah, it's my pleasure.
Right. And Satish, what I would say is, if this is actually, I personally feel these kind of sessions are more needed for the Agile community and I know that you have been doing this kind of sessions before also in terms of a Lean Connect as well as some others, but a lot of people would still want to, take up a lot of topics, like people who are, for example, as an Agile coach, there are still people who don't know how value stream mapping is done. So those kind of topics will be good enough, like probably we can do this kind of sessions, which will benefit the Agile community as such. And
Definitely.
kudos, of course, SS Agile Gurus is doing that, and you're doing it. And Anand, I see him; he's been always involved in a lot of these activities in the weekends. Whether podcast or whatever it is, he keeps putting it in the groups as such. So this is a way that we give back to the society, and then we also learn and also network, interact, and then make that more vibrant. So
Exactly.
thanks, and looking forward to more such kind of collaborations and sessions.
Definitely. Like, as I mentioned in the cognition, right? So our focus is not on the certifications. The knowledge sharing is what
Yeah.
the same concept of peer planning. If I have to mention in a certification session, I might be wrapping up in 1 hour. With the simulation. Now we spent more than almost 4 hours plus. We are planning for the simulation for 2 different days. That itself shows how much in depth we are going in detail, more than any certification course.
In certification, Satish, we just wrap it up in 1 hour, right? Because we have to cover lot many other topics in those 2 days of training, right? So the entire thing, right? So we cannot definitely allocate a lot of time. So but then these such kind of sessions, which are purely knowledge sharing sessions, right? So certification training is different, and this is different, certainly.
Okay, once again, thanks everyone. Let's wrap it up. It's already 10 o'clock. Let's call it a day. And I will try to share the recording by tomorrow because I need to get it from TopMate. Make sure to share your feedback on TopMate as well as a testimonial. That helps us to showcase it to others that what value we are getting as part of these sessions. Thanks again. Once again, good night.
Thank you so much, Satish.
Thank you so much,
Anand.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for your
Thank you,
time.
Satish. Thank you, Anand.
Thank you, Satish, and thank you,
Thanks,
Anand.
Satish. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye. Thanks.